Hello, I'm Paul,
And I'm Andrew.
and this is Paul and Andrew watch all of Hellraiser. And tonight
Yay!
we're back. And tonight we'll be watching the original 1987 film that started the series, surprisingly called Hellraiser.
Yes, and for those of you who haven't seen this before, this is a bring your own copy watch along party. So if you're just joining us, you have about 20 minutes as we waffle through stuff to source a copy of Hellraiser and be ready to hit play when we do the countdown.
And then we can all watch along together and make witty and insightful comments. Maybe.
Talking of comments, hello, the comment section. Is the one true fan there? Oh my god, yes,
One true fan
indeed.
is there, yes. Welcome back.
Yes, it's the one true fan. The only fan, as opposed to only fans. Yes. And also, if it's your
So,
line.
well, I'm waiting for you to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, but you haven't done it yet. But wait, if I'm Paul and you're Andrew,
Then who is?
in your own time, yep, the other go. Then who is?
Hey, I'm Vicky.
I am giving Paul the buttons. Hello, Vicky.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
We are wonderful, and I think the only fan is the one true fan is very happy as well. Hey, Vicky says the only fan. Yay, Scarlet Tiger Chili.
Hello. Good to see you.
Are you going to introduce yourself, Vicky?
Hello, everybody. My name is Vicky. I am the wife of Paul for my sins. I have been invited along here by the lovely Andy and the Paul to watch these wonderful films, and I have absolutely no doubt make stupid faces in front of the camera for the next few weeks, months, however long it lasts.
Why we invited you.
What we do all the time. So in the past, we watched all of Friday the 13th. We've watched almost all of Halloween because since we finished, they released 2 new movies, so we have to sort that out after we've sorted this. And all those will go on Trash or Treasure blog once I write it, and on our YouTube channel once I made it. Stop looking at me like that, Paul. But for this series, we have Vicky as our special guest because she picked Hellraiser series for us to watch.
Yeah, so I think it was when you chaps were having a bit of a conversation about what kind of films you were intending to do, and I remember my parents forever banned me from Hellraiser. I think it had something to do with potentially bondage, leather, hell, and yeah, and my parents had concerns about me as a child anyway, and I think they just wanted to keep me away from it. But I find it fascinating that now the heroes wear leather and PVC. Like in the Matrix.
I'm not too sure about the heroes wearing leather in the Hellraiser.
In the Matrix, the heroes now wear leather and PVC. Whereas back in Hellraiser, the bad guys wore leather and PVC.
I don't want to give away spoilers, but I do think the Matrix would have been a much different, more interesting series if it had been like starred the Cenobites. That would have made for a definitely a different genre of a film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Slightly different. Right, so over the next 20 or so weeks, we will be watching a Hellraiser movie every other Tuesday here on Twitch on the Super Fortress Hardcore Genki channel.
Yes. Yeah. Until we've watched all 11 films from the Hellraiser series, because this one goes up to 11.
They went that far.
Yep, they went
and that far. Don't forget, we are also watching the underappreciated Event Horizon film as well, which is bringing a piece of the Hell dimension into our futuristic world.
It's turn it up to 11, all the way up to 11,
and then one more for good luck.
Yes, I don't know about underappreciated, but I think it's definitely not as well regarded as it should be.
It is.
So a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just blah 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 in space," and I'm like, "And excellent."
Oh,
So,
excellent, absolutely excellent. But I truly believe the similarities between that film and the Hellraiser films are quite apparent.
But
Yeah,
we're going to
will
be
be
talking about that more later on in the series.
Yes.
So then, Vicky, have you seen any of these Hellraiser films before?
I have seen Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2, and I think I saw them with you, my darling, the first time I ever saw them. But as I said, they were rather taboo when I was young, so I wasn't allowed to watch them at all. Andy, have you seen any of the films?
I have seen 4 of them. I've seen 1, 2, and 3 multiple times. And I saw Hellraiser 4 once and thought that was enough.
Looking forward to
I-
revisiting that one then.
Yeah, much like an abscess I once had in my tooth. I will confess, I was very excited when I heard there was going to be the remake. I haven't seen it yet because I've put it off so that I will be seeing it 100% fresh with you guys when we finally get around to that. I've never seen any, that's why I'm here. Excellent to know from Scarlet Tiger Chili. Yes.
That's a really cool name, by the way. That is a really cool name.
It is. I remember watching it and thinking this is something rather different. And even at the time when it came out, it had a reputation for being, just something that had something the rest of them don't. The rest of the horrors didn't really have. Which is possibly either the directorial genius or just the people in leather. I'm not sure which. But yeah, I can remember watching it the first time and going, holy, this is amazing. So yeah. And so that you don't feel left out, Paul, have you seen any of them?
Well, despite what my wife says, I've only actually seen the first one, and that was way back in the 90s before I met her. So she's actually watched it with some other Paul, I'm guessing. I've completely forgotten.
Or you fell asleep.
Well,
It's very likely Paul fell asleep. He falls asleep during many things.
Yes, I'm glad we're not doing the what have you been watching this week section, because it would be I've watched half of this, half of that.
Paul and I watch things differently.
What did I watch? Yeah, I have watched many films, and you can find out what they were like at other places, such as trashortreasure.blog.
Who thought you had that one prepared?
Oh yeah, I got the self-promotional one prepared, all ready to go. What have I watched this week? I've apart from all the stuff that I've watched on either Bela Lugosi's Shed, Poor Quality Film Club, or the Super Fortress Hardcore Genki Trash or Treasure every Thursday on Discord, I watched Crazy Thunder Road and Electric Dragon 80,000 Volts, both Japanese kind of impressionist punk movies, which are great. And then you find out that they were all shot without permits, including all the bike racing scenes on highways with people in them, and you just go, "Yep, nuts." They were great movies. More about them later. So that's my watch this week. Vicky, have you watched any films this week?
This week, films. Oh yes, I actually have watched some films. What the hell did I? I've watched the latest Super Mario film. I went to the cinema.
Okay.
Saw that. That was really good. It's now inspired the what we call the Peaches War in my house, where we hide a speaker in my daughter's room, and at random points my phone will play the Peaches song. And
okay.
So yeah, that was a really good film. Highly recommend it.
When Peaches sings, I normally think of the electro rocker, so that's a completely different genre and would have made for a very different film. Anyway, where are we in the script now?
Right,
you've lost the script.
Yes, so we're off script just a little bit, but to bring us back on track, hey Vicky, would you be interested in some interesting facts about Hellraiser?
Hellraisers, yes.
Oh, is that the Andrew's Amazing Facts sign?
Well, I think welcome to the part of the show that we like to call Andrew's Amazing Facts.
Yes, because it would be strange to call it anything else when this is obviously. Oh God! Right. So, I'm not going to go into the full details of the production of this because it's fascinating and there's a huge amount about it, and it's a wonderful, wonderful story of the little lunatic that could. But I'm just going to cover some of the more salient things that I think our viewership are most interested in. So, yeah.
Okay, that raises a question.
Whilst becoming a genuine horror god, Clive Barker was a hustler on the gay and BDSM scene, on the
Right.
gay BDSM scene, which involved a lot of leather and the like, and the whole sexual thing. So that was where he got a lot of the ideas from. Obviously taken to an extreme. And it's the whole thing's based on the novella The Hellbound Heart, which was first published in Dark Harvest in 1986. Now, the fact that this movie that Hellraiser came out in 1987, gives you an idea of how excited everyone was about it. So he basically got his novella turned into a movie in about 12 months from release. That's
impressive.
class. Yeah. That's Clive Barker, by the way. He's the guy responsible for all of this, and he looks such a lovely man. Have you read much of his works or seen much of his works?
I've seen quite a few of his films, I think.
I've
Yeah.
seen only a couple.
You know how Stephen King looks like he'd eat your soul? Yeah, Clive Barker doesn't, and in my opinion, he writes more disturbing stuff. Anyway, it was his first feature film as director. There were 2 movies before this. So the first one is this. He wrote the screenplay for Underworld, also known as Transmutations. And as we know, the more titles a movie has, the better the film. He hated the final movie, possibly because the script he wrote then got really quite heavily rewritten.
Mhm.
And he also then completely wrote this for Rawhead Rex. And that did rather well, did okay. And he absolutely hated that one as well. And I've seen it, and it's really not that bad. So I starting to think he might just have like really stern opinions about his own work, which is cool. But I'm just saying they're not as bad as he himself makes out. Anyway, this meant that when he when the rights were farmed out and up for sale, he managed to get himself as the director because he didn't want anyone else breaking it like it happened with his previous works. Moving on, Doug Brady, who is this guy. This is how you will see him, not in the film, obviously, because in the film he's a little bit more, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Got shit nailed to his face. Ooh, comments that I've not been paying any attention to. Here we go. I saw this film when I was 15. It freaked me out. Yes. Hello, Laura Matthew Arts. Sorry I wasn't. I'm going to have to... Reinfeld is amazing. I haven't seen that yet. And the posters gave me the same vibe as Brain Dead. Have either of you got to seen Brain Dead, by the way?
I don't think I have.
Vicky?
If I have, I've erased it.
You would remember it. It's got at one point it had the record for the most blood used in a horror sequence.
It's not got a Sumatran rat monkey in it, does it?
Yes, it has the Sumatran rat monkey.
That would be one of the reasons why I've been erasing it from my mind. It made me visibly and physically. Oh, I felt awful.
Yes,
It was
it is that
horrible.
good.
It's an experience.
It's not good.
Yes, okay.
Absolute
horrible.
proof.
No.
That,
Bad film. Bad film.
What's his name? What's the director? It's just popped straight out of my head. Did Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolute proof that Peter Jackson did his best work when he didn't have a budget. If Lord of the Rings had been done for a packet of crisps and a gallon of blood, then it would have been so much better. Anyway, that's Doug Brady. He got the Pinhead role because through absolute nepotism, in that he'd known Clive Barker since they were at school.
Ah, lovely.
Which is pretty cool. And also, more saliently, he had formed the theatre group Dog Company with Clive Barker, and that was a progressive, experimental, wig-out theatre group where Clive Barker cut his teeth in various elements. Fun fact, as a result of all that, he was offered a choice of role between Pinhead and a mattress delivery man who has a single walk-on scene. And he originally was going to go with the mattress guy because he thought it'd be really important in his first feature film to get his face on the screen. Because that would be a huge boost to his career rather than being hidden behind a mask. And he happily admits he was very wrong. So, yes. Where are we? It's such a mad life. Yes, Clive Barker is insane. He is wonderfully, wonderfully insane. Thank you for that. I'm losing track of my buttons. Yes. Now, the film we're seeing is Hellraiser. It had several working titles. It went through many phases. The original title was The Hellbound Heart, because that was the name of the book. And that was the script he told. And the studio was very... Did I miss this guy? Slide? No, I didn't. Was very upset. And they were like, oh no, this sounds like a romance novel. So they turned around to Clive Barker and they went, hey, do you have an alternative title? And he went, Sadomasochists from Beyond the Grave.
And they went, that sounds wonderful. We'll put that on film.
It's accurate.
And they, and they went, no. Just no. So he asked the crew, because this was during the production stage, they asked the crew, and reputedly a 60-year-old female crew member suggested, what a woman will do for a good fuck. Which, that's a title. Don't know.
Yeah, most of the guys, they're mostly men that want this sort of thing.
Hey, I'm just saying, it's a strong title. I just don't think it would look good on a poster.
Well, in certain houses.
Anyway, and it eventually came out as Hellraiser because that's a nice safe thing. Also, what?
Because that fit on the poster.
Yeah. We've lost someone. Oh, who doesn't like us? The VHS included a home shopping network promo. Or the Japanese one did. There was literally a section for the home shopping network where you could do things like buy Le Month configurations, which is just... I want to know why they don't do that in special features more these days, quite frankly, because that's incredible. Anyway, so that's the main bit there. So, what the critics said. This is the time-honoured section of the show. So, Paul and Vicky, how do you think this movie fared with the critics at the time in 1987? Remembering,
I think gone.
It was banned, I think. So I'm kind of lean towards they fucking hated it.
Oh,
I'm going to say they were appalled by it.
Unfortunately, sorry, I was just being distracted by my wife telling me she can't join us, so she's going to be doing tech support because I can't help her. It was actually quite a mixed bag, by which I mean England liked it and America just went, "Oh my god, what's happening?"
They're just a bit sensitive over there. Sometimes.
Yeah, so Time Out London called it Barker's dazzling debut and said it creates such an atmosphere of dread that the astonishing set pieces simply detonate in a chain reaction of cumulative insanity, which is pretty hardcore. Kim Newman, who is a very astute observer and who helped legitimize a lot of genre work, said the most immediately striking aspect of the movie is its seriousness of tone in an era when horror films tend to be broadly comedic. So yeah, I mean, we saw this when we were doing the Halloween and the Friday the 13th, and you can definitely see it in probably one of its more direct comparisons, which is the Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
I mean, Freddy, after about part 3, became from part 3 onwards, basically became a comedic performance as a clown. Still a clown with razor blades. So yeah, to have this at this point in the cycle of horror, is pretty good.
On memory's not what it was, but I don't actually see this film as being comedic.
No, that's what I'm saying. It came out and it wasn't comedic. That was
Yeah.
Tim Newman's observation. This was when a lot of horror was being comedy. You also had like Evil Dead 2, which is basically slapstick.
Yeah.
That was pretty big around this era. Well, Evil Dead 1 is also slapstick if you're mental, which is why I laugh all the way through it. Anyway, over the pond, the Washington Post referred to it as a dark, frequently disturbing, and occasionally terrifying film. But Barker's vision hasn't quite made the conversion from paper to celluloid. So they're basically one of the first journalists to go, the book was so much better. Roger Ebert gave it one half of a star out of a possible 4.
Oh dear.
Describing it as a dreary piece of goods as has masqueraded as horror in many a long cold night. This is one of the movies you sit through with mounting dread as the fear grows inside you that it will indeed turn out to be feature length. I think that got a ding.
Yeah, yep.
And the final one was Ryan Murphy of the Miami Herald in 2021. The conclusion is pat and predictable, an amateurish effort of showing the advantages of good over evil. So, yeah. I mean, in its defense, it was about 20 years old at that time, and it had revolutionized the entire concept of horror as we know it. So maybe he wasn't judging it fairly.
He reviewed it after 20 years? Did he?
Yeah. I'm not... Well, hang on. No, that was 21. That's like 30 years. I'm like, what sort of Muppet digs up a 30-year-old movie to just go, it doesn't look half as good as the stuff these days? It's like, twerp.
Well, thank you very much for those facts.
Yes.
We are now into the lead up to watching the film. So for those watching at home, it is your opportunity to go grab yourself a drink so you can stay hydrated. Vicky,
Yes.
have you got your finger up because you want to ask a question?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Seriously.
you're just holding your finger up generally. Okay, fair
No,
enough.
I would interrupt you if I needed anything. I generally use my hands.
Wave your
random.
I think
That's why I was surprised by
We have a question from the audience from Scarlet Chili. What have I let myself in for?
An hour and a half of us talking over movies, generally.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to point out, you wouldn't let us do Puppet Master, 12 films, or Leprechaun, 8 films. Did that recently. So this is basically also Tiger Chili's fault. I'm blaming the one fan.
Fair enough. So yeah, if you are at home, time to go and grab your copy of the film and get ready to watch along with us.
Yes.
And in the meantime, here's what IMDb had to say about the film. A woman discovers the newly resurrected, partially formed body of her brother-in-law. She starts killing for him to revitalize his body so he can escape the demonic beings that are pursuing him after he escaped their sadistic underworld. So, Vicky, are you excited about watching the original Hellraiser again?
I am actually. I'm looking forward to seeing the original film, as I haven't seen it in a very long time, and I'm looking forward to seeing the second one. After, however, watching things like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, I am slightly in horror of what happens to the series as they continue to go through. I've not heard positive things, and I'm worried that all you're going to sort of see me looking at is... So, but I am looking forward to seeing how it hopefully evolves.
And we are looking forward to seeing those facial expressions.
And not devolution.
I was going to say, was that face for or against?
That face was, dear God, let me be eaten by some action rat monkey.
Everyone to their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't king shame around here. And for your viewing convenience, can I introduce to you the the counter?
We might be organised to all press the button at the same time.
Huh?
It does hinge on everything pressing the button at the same time.
And you've given us 1 second to warm ourselves up. Good.
It'll be fun. I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul gets to count us in.
Okay then. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Ew. Gross.
That's disgusting. That's not the worst thing we're going
Yeah.
to see.
No,
But as openings
No.
go,
Like, is he gonna like eat a sandwich with that hand? Ugh.
I hope not. I have to know how much of this was influenced by Clive Barker not being able to do a bloody Rubik's Cube.
I was going to say we could end up with an hour and a half going, I can't get the bloody microphone.
All the greens are on one side, but there's a bloody yellow that won't
When
came out.
the dead lights were coming.
Ooh!
Straight in.
The skin effect.
I'm not being funny, but some of that stuff you could possibly buy from a Halloween shop.
These days, yes.
Yeah,
Those days, no.
yeah.
And I have to agree that it does Okay, these are messy eaters.
See, that is a dress and a half.
See, someone
I
has
think
tidy
that is
nails.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
They were-
that's how you do it.
I think it's.
Ew,
Oh, God.
that kitchen. Oh, good grief, why?
They cleaned up every
There's
other
the
room in the
horror.
house.
There's the horror.
His
It's
face
in
is
that.
accurately depicting what everyone in the audience is thinking.
Mhm.
Why is he dubbed? How hideously
Maybe he needs
slack-jawed
to
was
be.
he? It was like, I've got 2 actors for the role. Okay. One of them looks like a jeans model. Right? The other one's got a good voice.
Mhm.
Oh, that ceiling is rough.
That is.
That is.
Yeah, and they just moved in.
And that shot, you saw that green on her underneath her chin.
Mm.
That's because that's just slime mold luminescing in the hallway.
Oh, that's difficult, isn't it? Hey, darling, look what I've done. Blup, blup.
See, if that was me, I'd be too busy laughing.
Yeah.
Darling, I seem to have opened my hand up. I must go to the room of instant infection. Oh,
Yeah, definitely Chernobyl. There's the ooze.
yeah, this is what Morph did after Tony Hart.
Yeah.
If that guy has to pick his nose, does he like go at the front, or does he just find the hole nearest to where he thinks the booger is?
I mean, it's worrying that he'd probably just leave something up there more than take it out at this stage. I love the fact that it's like she had a bad dream. It's like, who? As if there could be multiple women
Yeah.
who would phone him up in the middle of the night to tell him that they'd had a bad dream.
Those words every woman wants to hear. Let's get on with it.
Yes, I'm not sure that's going to wash out easily.
No. I don't know how advanced detergents were at that point.
Come on, Frank, eat the whole thing, for God's sake.
Oh!
Oh, dear Lord.
She kind of went through his entire photo album of
Yeah.
really.
Oh!
Ew. I'm not being funny, but she's. Yeah, no, the guy should have stopped ages ago.
What is the dry cleaning bill like in this place? Oh my God.
There's a young lady here who seems to be in distress.
Oh.
Let's frown at her and walk on. Nurse, get me 10 cc's of overacting stat.
Is it a crime to be frowned upon by nuns?
Yes. It looks a bit like the Arnold Rimmer monster from certain angles.
Yeah.
Clean hands, dirty teeth is. It's probably quite difficult to get the right angle when you've got all those nails coming out your face.
Yeah, I can only get the toothbrush in certain directions.
Not now, Jesus!
Surprise, Jesus.
Jesus. But they built it up
Would've
because we
been cool
knew
if
there
it was
was
Buddy
all
Christ.
those statues. And it was the moment when he just goes, "Sorry, babe, nothing personal." That is just heartbreaking for her. Even if she deserves it, you can still have sympathy. Oh, God!
There we go, maggots
No! Oh! They are going to get as much out of that prop as they can. And frankly, that is quite fair.
Now is the time, girl, to turn around and walk away.
and run.
Oh, grim.
Wait for it. Oh!
Ew.
Ooh!
And that was Hellraiser.
That was indeed Hellraiser. I don't think we've ever been that quiet at the end of a movie.
Really watching for everybody out there, wasn't it? Just we all sat here in silence, staring at the ending.
Yeah, that's just... It's the perfect ending. It's like, number one, she maintains being perfect by just going, fuck that shit, I'm getting rid of this box. And then a tramp turns up, grabs the box, and turns into a dragon. The end.
Because why not? Yeah.
Oh, we have votes. It is a classic. I am exhausted.
now.
Wow. I think
So
we've got like a lot of positivity there.
Yeah. So, Vicky, what did you think of that?
I enjoyed it. It reinforced some of my later ideals for my debate later. And I really enjoyed it when Julia got it. I was really pleased at that moment. But yeah, I thought it was really good. The acting was really good. I thought the acting of the dad was probably the best because he managed to change his character completely.
Yeah, just when he does that switch between the two, and it's a very, very dramatic difference.
Julie, we have to give props to Julie because she brought a level of complexity to that character. That could have been an absolute hat stand of a character. And even all the way through, there was just that kind of like the humanity and the inhumanity of the character. Just, you saw that tension bubbling.
Yeah, so I want the end results, and I guess I'm willing to do anything to get there, but I'm not particularly happy with it.
Yeah, I kind of wish Anakin Skywalker was a bit like that.
Yeah, a little bit more complex. And yeah, okay, I'll kill a bunch of kids.
Yeah. It's yeah. The acting's superb. The effect, the other thing I'd say, the effects. Even though some of them do look ropey, they're still effective.
They are very effective. As you say, that there's bits you can see. It's like with the one that comes up the corridor and it's using its legs to pull itself along.
Yeah.
You can see the machine and the people behind it.
Oh yeah,
pushing it forward, but it doesn't detract from it at all.
Well, it's like the first appearance of Frank. That was very simply build a partial skeleton out of different types of gelatin and solid bone, and then have fish wire in it and all that, and then just turn the heat up.
Yeah.
And then play it in reverse. But I say that, and I'm still going, yeah, while thinking about it. Even describing it, I'm still getting wigged by that sequence.
Yeah, that was a brilliant sequence. There were quite a few exceptionally well done special effects. Yeah, as you say, for the era that they may be a bit old now, but they still work.
Universally, the effects still work, but a number of them you would still be happy to see in a modern film. Obviously now you've got the advantage where you've got augmented effects where you use practical for the bulk of it, and then you kind of soften the edges and morph it using CGI, which I'm a huge fan of because that you still got the solid practicality, but just a little bit of getting past. But yeah, a number of them still really hold off. Yes, there was. Yes,
well, that's interesting.
Yeah. as I said, I love the fact that it's got a hark back to like the old 50s and 60s stuff,
Mhm.
and then it shows you the thing. So just doubling up on that. Anyway, more from Vicky.
Right then, so Vicky, we've seen that your favourite kill was that of Julia, who you felt was well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Pinhead as the main bad guy?
I liked Pinhead, but I don't know if many people noticed, but sometimes when you saw his face, I saw, I know it's going to sound really weird, but almost like a childlike wonder on his
See,
face.
there was a bit earlier on where you see some pictures in the house, and there's a picture of a young child, which just looks very much like Pinhead to me. And I wonder if they'd kind of based it on that idea that it was a sort of a childish face, but turned into something horrible.
Yeah, his face sort of with the pins, even though it was horrifying on occasion, the face looked really, really full of wonder.
Mm.
And it was almost in some cases sort of, yeah, just innocence, I guess. Which sounds like an oxymoron because obviously he was saying, oh, but someone agrees with me. Yay.
Yes.
No, I have never thought of that before, and all I can do is agree with you because it was very hidden because most of what he was doing was being stoic.
hmm
Mm,
But there was like a childish glee almost,
yeah.
and experiencing new things.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question though. Is he the villain?
Well, that's a good question, I think.
I don't think so. So he's basically he's being called, but I think that he kind of came. They did come sort of and save the day, but I don't think they could quite distinguish the fact that she had not called them to play. She had in fact called them in error, and I think that's where that line kind of deters. It's a bit like in
Which
Greek
line?
mythology when someone screws up because they genuinely don't know what the hell they're doing, but the god's like, you know what, I don't care, you screwed up,
I'm a
take your
god.
lumps.
You're fucked.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, I think Frank was. Frank and Julie are definitely the monsters of the piece.
I also like that there's the tension between the Cenobites because they're not homogenous. We're all going to do the same kind of thing. That there is that conflict between them. It's like one of them's like, "I want to kill the girl now," and Pinhead's like, "No, we need to get Frank back first. Then we can worry about it."
Well, as I said, in the hospital sequence where I think he's called the Chittering one, just goes straight in, and as I said, with the teeth down, whereas the female Cenobite and Pinhead are standing at the back being kind of aloof. And then you got the large one, Butterball, just like lumping around like, I'm gonna have some fun though. So that there was not this unified passivity to them. It's like a budding serial. Yeah. We aren't on Drag Race. God. Oh. I mean, it might be a redundant question, but Vicky, what did you think of it as a film?
I thought it was a very, very good film, a really good concept. As Paul sort of mentioned in yourself, I like sort of Julia's internal conflict and struggle. You also had kind of a sympathetic, but you didn't quite look at the father as wholly good because he wasn't. He was a shit husband, wholly full of self-denial. I think the only truly good character in there was potentially Kirsty. But that was because, to be honest, bless her, let's be honest, she was, I think her involvement was last quarter of the film, maybe last third of the film, when she actually saw anything going on. It's the same as the Cenobites. You literally had what was going on at the house, and then everything just kind of came together at the last third. So I thought it was really good because all that crap was going on, and they were just carrying on as normal, and then all of a sudden they're like, right, okay, so this is happening, and then it just kind of descended really quickly. But yeah, I thought it was very good kind of build up of characters, and you kind of felt a pity, I think, for one or two of the guys she brought back. Yeah, one of them was a definite lech, but like the other two were just like, you know what, I'm lonely, and you're thinking, oh crap, you've just been brought back and you're gonna die. And it's like,
but even within that, they were lechers, but they didn't deserve having their head battered in with
God, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But I think you can kind of feel a little bit okay, you know, not okay, but like less sympathy for the actual the perverted lech, the first one she brought back. It was just like, you know, let's get on with it, treating her more like a possession than a person. Whereas the other two were just like, I just want human contact, I'm lonely. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, you're desperate for human contact, so you're doing this. And it's like, really? I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah. I other than like Kirsty, the boyfriend, and the Cenobites, I think everyone was in delightfully grey areas. Like I know you and LJ and probably other people in the comments have been, you know, like hitting down on the dad, and I'm not going to say he was perfect, but there was this effort, this, hey, we can make it as a family, let's try and work it, as you said, denial, but there was something kind of endearing with his willingness to persist. It may not have been a good plan, especially because he got his head stoved in, but he was like Julie wasn't a cartoon villain. Their dad wasn't. It would have been a terrible film if the dad had been the clean-cut victim.
Absolutely.
One of the things with films like this that I find is that I tend to get a bit fed up of the humans in a film like this, because you got your human storyline happening while there's the more interesting supernatural, sci-fi, whatever storyline going on in the background. Whereas this one, I think the human characters had enough depth in them, and they felt real in that they weren't stereotypes, they weren't clean cut one way or another way, and that kept the story going. And you only had about, I think it was about 3 appearances of the Cenobites, because you're one right at the very start, the one where she opens up the box, Kirsty opens up the box, and then the end scene. And despite only sort of those 3 scenes, the humans carried the story, and it's because they were better characters, more rounded characters.
The one thing I would definitely say about it, it is an incredibly confident film. Like the pacing of it, as we noticed, the start where it was just the black and white title sequence that went on for an age, but it had that music, and it was just an absolute, we are going to set this scene before we do anything else. The number of times we've seen films where you'll have the intro and then you'll have the credit sequence, and there'll be big blaring guitars, and they'll be trying to go, here's action, we're going to be doing something, it's going to be big, it's going to be loud, and then you're into kill one. Wow. I mean, we didn't really hit the first kill till about like 30 minutes, which if we were watching a Halloween or a Friday the 13th, we would just be sitting there going, holy shit, when is someone going to die?
Well,
whereas this
Frank.
Yeah, this was very, very confident with what it was trying to do, and it was trying to mix. It had the 3 plot lines going on, and it was just like, well, we're going to pause now, and we're going to do this. And like you said, like Vicky said, the Kirsty didn't really get involved until the final third.
Yeah.
So they have your main hero, the main hero character.
She was very secondary until the end bit. Yeah.
Have her held back for that long. That's not something you do. And it works perfectly. So as I said, very confident, very sure of what it wants to achieve, and very willing to operate at its own pace while still sticking to the 90-minute golden rule. So I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this, Vicky? Anything else that you thought stuck out? And no is fine, because we've gone through a lot of things that we thought were awesome.
Not really. It's just the puzzle box, to be honest, in itself. It seemed rather difficult to open, and yet somehow even in panic, she managed to close the damn thing. And that's the only point where I realise it's a thing kind of film, but when you've got to suspend your disbelief for a time being and go, yeah, no, that would never happen.
Well,
It is
yeah.
It is rather a MacGuffin plot device, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
she was in the hospital, sort of fiddled with it a little bit, and it completely opens.
I know,
and then she has
right?
to spend like 16 moves getting it back into position after just pushing one bit of it.
It's not a puzzle box, obviously.
Like, I don't think it gets named till like the 4th movie, but it is called The Puzzle Box. So,
I know.
A Rubik's Cube. Yeah, I can't remember getting pierced through flesh if I got the Rubik's Cube wrong. But, maybe you got a different edition. Anyway. Ooh. So...
Yes. Some people just have a talent for these things.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, are you ready now for the heady responsibility that is...
The Hall of Hellraiser. So this bit is where Vicky gets to place this movie in our scale between a heavenly movie and a hellish movie. And in this case, we are referring to heavenly movies as being ones that we really enjoyed watching.
Yes.
So where would you like Hellraiser to sit?
To be honest, right at the top.
Right at the top. Okay.
Well,
Right
considering all the others, it was the best out of all the ones I've seen so far.
Yep.
That is fair.
Yep, that's fair enough. We can shuffle these things around a little bit later if you think that there's a better film.
At this stage, it's not the most exciting haul of franchises we've had, but
it will populate over the series.
But like the other two, the opener is solid. So I can absolutely see how it landed so hard and why people were instantly, oh my god, because even now that is a standout movie. So, well, that was exciting.
That was exciting. But next time, we'll be back on Tuesday, the 16th of May.
Yes.
Where we will be watching the second in the series. And the tag for that one is Kirsty is brought to an institution after the horrible events of Hellraiser 1987, where the occult obsessive head doctor resurrects Julia and unleashes the Cenobites and their demonic underworld.
Are you looking forward to this, Vicky? Are you feeling confident in this franchise?
At the moment, yes.
Excellent.
Fantastic. I'm sure that unlike every other franchise, it will all be just as good as this.
No, I know one of the most recent ones will be good.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, thank you to all the people that turned up for this. Did everyone enjoy this?
I hope so.
Ooh, that sounds like a solid sequel. Yes, it does indeed sound like a solid sequel. Thank you all for coming. Please tell all your mates. We are going to be on the 16th. You can find Paul and Andrew watch all of at the Trash or Treasure blog. And I am going to quickly pimp that blog. That's where we're going to be holding up a bunch of stuff on there once I get it written. And more examples of this kind of shenanigans and all the info that we keep hold of us can be found at the Super Fortress Hardcore Genki Hall of Awesome, which is on Facebook. And you can also get links there to the Discord, where we do things like what we do every Thursday. We have the Trash or Treasure watch along. When Drag Race is running, we have watch alongs of that, and people share the works that they're doing, and they go, "Hey, I'm doing all this stuff." So please, if you want to find awesome stuff or just tell people about awesome stuff, come there. No, to finish the Ritual Killer.
I think now to finish.
Oh, now to finish the Ritual Killer. Right, fair enough. Yay! Yes. I have no idea what's going on there, which is why next time, Paul's going to be handling the comments.
Fair enough.
So, yes.
So, Vicky.
Yep.
Your line.
Oh, okay. So thank you for watching Paul
well-oiled machine.
and Vicky and Andy to watch all of Hellraiser.
Yes.
Until
Thank you so
next
much for
time.
joining us. We'll
Thank
see
you
you
for joining
next
us.
time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.